film opens with a haunting montage of Steve Rogers' legacy, his woe to heroics, the fall of S.H.I.E.L.D., the Civil War, and his retirement. Sam Wilson's voiceover echoes, "Steve told me the S.H.I.E.L.D. wasn't just a weapon, it was a promise. But promises get heavy when the world stops believing in them." We cut to Sam in Louisiana, rebuilding his family's fishing boat, a metaphor for his struggle to balance his civilian life with his role as Captain America. His sister Sarah urges him to attend a veterans event, but Sam hesitates. "They don't want me, Sarah. They want him." Joaquin Torres, now training as the new Falcon, interrupts with dire news. President Thaddeus Ross has summoned Sam to the White House. Reluctantly, Sam dons the Captain America suit, staring at his reflection with unease. President Ross, aging but iron-willed, reveals a world in chaos. The assassination of the Wakandan ambassador has triggered a Cold War with the U.S., a stolen super soldier serum has resurfaced, and anti-superhuman protests rage globally. Ross unveils the Global Security Act, GSA, a treaty granting governments unilateral authority to detain or monitor superhumans. He demands Sam publicly endorse it. The world needs a Captain America who stands for order, not anarchy. Sam refuses, arguing the GSA would criminalize marginalized heroes like the Young Avengers or mutants. Ross coldly retorts, "You're not Steve Rogers. You're a soldier without an army." In a derelict Roxxon facility in Siberia, Dr. Samuel Stearns experiments on captive test subjects, including Isaiah Bradley. Stearns, now mutated with a glowing, oversized brain, monologues to his imprisoned assistant, Betty Ross. "Your father's fear of chaos birthed me. Now, I'll give him chaos he can't control." Using gamma radiation and Steve Rogers' stolen blood samples, Stearns creates unstable alpha soldiers, Hulk-like beings with uncontrollable rage. Sam confides in Bucky Barnes at a Brooklyn bar. Bucky, now working with Wakanda, reveals intel. Ross secretly funded Stearns' experiments post-blip to counter extraterrestrial threats. Ross wants an army of Hulks, Bucky warns. But Stearns isn't a puppet, he's the puppeteer. Their talk is cut short when news breaks. Alpha soldiers attack a UN summit in Geneva, slaughtering diplomats. Sam and Bucky race to the scene but arrive too late. The world blames Captain America for failing to prevent the massacre. Mid-act twist, security footage, doctored by Stearns, surfaces of Sam fighting Alpha soldiers, framing him as a rogue operative. Ross declares a global manhunt for Captain America. On the run, Sam and Torres regroup at a safe house in Madripoor. Torres, now in a sleek Falcon suit inspired by Sam's design, urges Sam to trust him. "You're not alone, Cap. Let me fly with you." They infiltrate a Roxxon data hub, uncovering Stearns' plans to weaponize the GSA's surveillance network. A high-octane chase ensues as Roxxon mercenaries, armed with Gamma-Tech rifles, pursue them through Madripoor's neon-lit streets. Sam, lacking super soldier agility, barely escapes using his wingsuit stealth mode, a gift from Shuri. Flashbacks reveal Ross's downfall. Post-blip, he struck a deal with Stearns to develop Alpha soldiers as a deterrent against future invasions. But when Stearns demanded human test subjects, Ross refused, leading Stearns to kidnap Betty. In the present, Ross confides in Contessa Valentina Allegra de Fontaine, who blackmails him. "Expose Sam, or I'll tell the world you created the monsters hunting him." Stearns unleashes an Alpha soldier in Times Square. Sam and Torres intervene, but the Alpha's gamma-powered strength shreds Sam's shield. Civilians film the battle, and Sam's refusal to kill the creature, instead redirecting it into the Hudson River, goes viral. The world splits. Some hail him as a hero. Others, including U.S. agent Wyatt Russell, brand him a traitor. "You don't deserve that shield," U.S. agent snarls in a televised rant. Bucky tracks Sam to a hideout in New Orleans, bringing Shuri's gift, a vibranium shield laced with gamma-dampening tech. Shuri's message plays, "The shield is a tool, Sam, but the man wielding it, that's the weapon." Meanwhile, Valentina recruits Yelena Belova and Ghost, teasing the Thunderbolts' role in Act 3. Stearns broadcasts a chilling ultimatum worldwide. "You wanted safety? Now choke on it." Alpha soldiers simultaneously attack Washington, D.C., Moscow, and Wakanda. Ross, desperate, activates the Thunderbolts protocol. The Thunderbolts, U.S. agent, Yelena, Ghost, and Taskmaster, rescue Ross from a staged Alpha attack, positioning themselves as heroes. Sam, branded Public Enemy No. 1, infiltrates the White House with Torres and Bucky. They discover Ross's files linking him to Stearns, but are ambushed by the Thunderbolts. A brutal fight erupts, an ideological duel. Sam fights to disable, U.S. agent fights to kill. A rematch of their Black Widow showdown, ending with Bucky severing Taskmaster's Gamma-Tech arm. Torres uses his wings to phase through walls, outmaneuvering Ghost's intangibility. Sam confronts Ross in the Situation Room, forcing him to confess on live TV. Ross, defeated, admits, "I wanted to protect us. but I became the enemy. Suddenly, Stearns hijacks the broadcast, revealing his true plan. The GSA satellites will disperse gamma toxins, transforming 1% of Earth's population into alpha soldiers. Evolution cannot be controlled, Captain, Stearns gloats. Sam's team storms Stearns' Arctic base, fighting through alpha soldiers and Roxxon mercenaries. In the lab, they free Betty and Isaiah Bradley, who sacrifices himself to destroy Stearns' serum stockpile. Stearns, enraged, injects himself with an experimental serum, mutating into a gamma-powered titan, a grotesque fusion of brain and muscle. Sam combines Shuri's shield with Taurus's drone tech, reflecting Stearns' gamma blasts back at him. The feedback loop freezes Stearns in Arctic ice, but not before he bellows, "You've won nothing. The world will always fear what it cannot control." Sam addresses the world at the Lincoln Memorial, flanked by Bucky, Taurus, and Wakandan allies. Captain America wasn't a perfect man. He was a man who believed in people, in your power to choose justice over fear. The crowd cheers as Sam throws the shield into the air, catching it with renewed resolve. Ross, stripped of power, meets Valentina in a prison cell. She smirks. The Thunderbolts need a leader, someone the world deserves. A seismic crack splits the Arctic ice. Stearns' frozen hand twitches, his eye glowing green. Sam's journey mirrors modern struggles with racial and political identity, contrasting Steve's idealism with post-blip cynicism. The GSA critiques real-world surveillance states, asking, how much freedom will we trade for safety? Stearns' survival teases World War Hulk. Thunderbolt's morally gray team sets up Phase while paying homage to the ideals Steve Rogers fought for. It's not a perfect film. Its ambitious scope occasionally strains under the weight of too many subplots, but it's a necessary one, reflecting the anxieties of a world still reeling from the blip, alien invasions, and the erosion of public trust. At its core, Brave New World is less a traditional superhero spectacle and more a tense geopolitical thriller, one that asks uncomfortable questions about who gets to define justice in an era of endless crisis. The film's greatest strength lies in its willingness to confront real-world parallels head-on. Sam Wilson's journey as the first Black Captain America is fraught with challenges that Steve Rogers never faced: public skepticism, institutional racism, and the pressure to become a symbol for a nation still wrestling with its own contradictions. Mackie wears this complexity beautifully, balancing Sam's innate optimism with a growing disillusionment over how little the world has changed. Early scenes of Sam repairing his family's fishing boat in Louisiana or awkwardly navigating a veterans event underscore his everyman relatability. He's a hero who feels tethered to his community, making his eventual clash with President Thaddeus Ross, a magnetic Harrison Ford, all the more compelling. Ford's Ross is a far cry from William Hurt's blustery general. Here, he's a weary, calculating president who masks his desperation with paternalistic rhetoric. Their ideological duel, Sam's grassroots idealism versus Ross's authoritarian pragmatism, drives the narrative, culminating in a third-act revelation that forces both men to confront their complicity in a broken system. The plot, while dense, unfolds with a propulsive urgency. After a UN summit is attacked by gamma-mutated alpha soldiers, Sam is framed for the massacre and forced into hiding. This sets off a globe-trotting race to uncover the truth behind the experiments of Dr. Samuel Stearns, Tim Blake Nelson, aka The Leader, a villain resurrected from The Incredible Hulk 2008 and reimagined as a chilling hybrid of TED Talk visionary and Bond-esque megalomaniac. Nelson steals every scene he's in. His character's grotesque, brain-like visage and calm, philosophical menace, evoking shades of Thanos' nihilism, crossed with Zemo's calculated cruelty. His plan, to weaponize the Global Security Act, GSA, a draconian treaty promoting mass surveillance of superhumans as a vector for global gamma poisoning, is ludicrously over the top, but the film grounds it in timely allegories about pandemic-era fear-mongering and the rise of autocracy. Where Brave New World stumbles is in its pacing. The first act juggles too many threads: Sam's internal conflict, Ross's political machinations, Stearns' experiments, and the introduction of Joaquin Torres, Danny Ramirez, as the new Falcon. While Ramirez brings a charming, wide-eyed energy to the role, his arc feels undercooked, leaning too heavily on his loyalty to Sam rather than forging a distinct identity. Similarly, the return of Liv Tyler's Betty Ross, trapped as Stearns' captive, adds emotional stakes but suffers from limited screen time. That said, the film's middle act compensates with tightly choreographed action sequences that highlight Sam's vulnerability as a non-super soldier. A Madripoor chase scene in which Sam and Taurus evade Roxxon mercenaries using a mix of drone tech and street-level ingenuity is a standout, showcasing Mackie's physicality and the director's knack for blending practical stunts with CGI. The political commentary, while heavy-handed at times, resonates deeply. The GSA's parallels to post-9/11 Patriot Act debates and modern surveillance states are unmistakable, but the film smartly avoids simplistic moralizing. Ross isn't a cartoonish villain. He's a man so traumatized down with the leader, now transformed into a gamma-powered kaiju, teeters on the edge of absurdity, but is salvaged by Mackie's earnestness and the script's insistence on tying the spectacle to Sam's growth. When he finally wields a Wakandan vibranium shield, a gift from Shuri that subtly critiques America's history of appropriating Black innovation, it's a triumphant moment that feels earned, not manufactured. Tonally, Brave New World walks a tightrope between Winter Soldier's gritty realism and Black Panther's mythic grandeur, though it doesn't always stick the landing. Some jokes, mostly from Torres, feel jarring in a story this grim, and the MCU's trademark quips occasionally undercut the tension. Still, the film's quieter moments linger. Sam's heart-to-heart with Bucky, Sebastian's stan, in a Brooklyn bar, where Bucky confesses, "Steve didn't choose you because you were perfect. He chose you because you'd question the perfect lie." Or Betty Ross's tearful plea to her father, "You taught me to fight for what's right, not just what's easy." In the end, Captain America, Brave New World is a messy but vital chapter in the MCU. It doesn't shy away from the ugliness of its themes, xenophobia, militarism, the exploitation of fear, but it never loses sight of the hope that defines Captain America. Sam's closing speech at the Lincoln Memorial, where he declares, "This shield isn't a weapon. It's a reminder that we're stronger when we fight for each other, not against each other," is corny in the best way, a beacon of idealism in a franchise increasingly defined by cosmic fatalism. The post-credits scenes, teasing the Thunderbolts' rise and the leader's return, promise darker days ahead. But for now, the film leaves us with something rare in modern blockbusters. A hero who believes in us more than we believe in ourselves. Is it the best Captain America film? No, The Winter Soldier still holds that crown. But it's the one we need right now. A story about finding light in the dark, not by superhuman strength, but by stubborn, unyielding faith in people. Flaws and all, Brave New World earns its place as a worthy successor to Steve Rogers' legacy, and a compelling blueprint for Phase 5's future.